from Mini Bowl Design. I just finished my morning's work. I set out to build 10 M5 bases, and they're right here. I just finished them. They're in the Rubbermaid container, and tomorrow I'll build the other half of them. But I promised myself that if I got the 10 M5 bases done, that I would do a video, and that's what I'm really enjoying the most here, is doing the video. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to do pot ring building 101, so you can see the finer points of building a pot ring for a Foster's pot. So I've got my piece of stock cut. Let me put it in here, true it up, and straighten everything around, then we'll turn the camera on and see the finer points. It'll be fun. Okay, I've put this piece of stock in the lathe, and I've made a couple of rings on it, and I have all my dimensions set. Now, when you do the outside of this, you have to start with a smaller diameter and then taper it up to the major diameter, and then taper up again to have your shoulder. And then you have to turn the inside to get the correct wall thickness, and then you have to turn this little edge here so that when it's inside the pot and stuff comes up by, it doesn't come up to a square edge, it comes up to a tapered edge. Then comes probably the most difficult part of the whole thing, and that's taking a parting tool and cutting this off. I know that sounds like the easy part, but parting tools are notorious for breaking and binding up and causing all kinds of hate and discontent. So I'm going to show you a couple of things about a parting tool, because the rest of this is pretty much simple. Okay, this is my parting tool, and it's very narrow, and it's made out of HSS, high-speed steel. Now, the thing about parting tools is, the further you have to go into something to cut it off, the fatter this has to be for strength. So if you're going to make a cut, you're going to have to part in, like an inch. Your parting tool is probably going to be like 3/16 of an inch just to get the strength you need. But because on this, we're only parting off with about 3/32, we can get away with a very thin parting tool. So you say, well, what's the difference? Well, the thicker this is, the more material it eats when it parts. So if this is 1/8 of an inch thick, for like every 4 rings that you cut, you're going to waste 1 ring compared to this one. Now there's a couple more things about this that the average guy probably wouldn't know. So let me cut off, and I'll show you that, and then I'll explain something else about it. Okay, this is cut off. Now you say, there, that wasn't too bad. Okay, 2 things. I'm going to set this aside for a minute, and I'm going to move the tool rest back, and I'm going to show you something that to me is interesting. Okay, now here's my ring, which has no flash on the end of it, here where it cut off. The flash where it cut off is still right here. It's razor sharp. You can see I can bend it right down. It's still razor sharp. Now, let me set this camera back and I'll explain it to you. Okay, first you're going to say, yeah, so what's the difference? Well, here's the difference. I'm going to pick this part up. Now, if it's got that razor sharp edge on it, I'm going to have to remove it from this little ring with something. I'll show you how I do it anyway. But the way I'm doing it, since the flash always stays on the piece of stock and is quickly removed when I make the next cut without me getting into it at all, that saves me some time and it makes a better product. Now, this piece of flash here, when I come in for the next cut, I'll just cut it right off. My hands don't go near it, there's no chance of me getting cut. Now, how did I do that? I did that by grinding my parting tool. Instead of grinding it square, I grind it on an angle. The pointed side being towards a piece of work that's going to fall off, and I'm going to keep, and the lower side being on the stock. That way it's going to cut off on the part side first, and the flash is going to stay on the stock. That's just a small machinist trick that you learn when you build these for a long time. Just, it's kind of a fun thing. Very simple. Takes like a half a minute to do it and saves you a lot of time and keeps you from getting hurt. So let's look at this ring now. Okay, here's the ring. All done. Throw her on the pile and send her out. I don't think so. Now, keeping in mind, this is going in somebody's mouth. Somebody's tongue is going to run across this. And because it was faced straight across, there's a whole bunch of 9-degree angles on this. So, what I do is this. Okay, what I do with it now is, because this edge and this edge are still very sharp, and that's where your tongue is going to be, I put it in a small finishing lathe that spins at high speed, and I take a file and a piece of fine emery paper, and I polish this top edge where your mouth is going to touch. Outside lip, front edge lip, back edge lip, and polish it all up so that it'll be glassy smooth and you won't cut yourself. That's just one more step to a seasoned machinist doing this. So after going through this, I suspect that when I get the parts back from the CNC shop, which is still up in the air, hypothesizing here, when I do, I suspect I'll probably have to put them in the finishing lathe and polish them. And that's not a big deal. I can do, I can polish one in under a minute. It's not a problem at all. And that'll save me the time of making all these parts. Now, here's the deal. If I can do that, and I can probably would take 3 small CNC shops making different parts for me to make, say, all of my parts. And then all I would have to do is assemble, maybe do a little polishing, assembling, a little bit of work. That would free me up to do more design work, more backpacking, and build more bikes. So what I was thinking was, if I could get to that point, and that probably won't come until I start drawing Social Security in another 7 years or 8 years, I'd like to start a bike shop where I build recumbent bikes and have a forum just like I have here, where people come in and make comments on the YouTube videos, and do a backpacking thing and have a blog for backpacking where I go all over the place and backpack, and also have a blog for people so we can kick around the ideas for prototypes and basically have somebody else do most of the work. That's where I'd like to go. I'm working on it. I don't know how long that'll take, but I think that would be better for you guys and it would be better for me, because to be perfectly honest with you, I'm getting really tired of making all these parts day in and day out and going through all the soap operas of the whole thing. I'd really like to have more time. So, I'm Tinny from Mini Bull Design. Get out and hike, take a friend, enjoy the great outdoors, and more important than anything, be nice, leave no trace, and have a really great day. Bye-bye.